Hi, it's Frank, and today we're going to be covering the Ontario G1 Knowledge Practice Test. This test covers the essential rules of the road, traffic signs, and safe driving practices specific to Ontario that you need to know before getting your learner's permit. Let's get straight into the questions. What is the mandatory minimum following distance you should maintain under ideal conditions? A minimum of a 2-second interval. This interval gives you enough time to react and stop safely if the vehicle ahead stops suddenly. Let's continue. What is the mandatory blood alcohol concentration BAC for a G1 or G2 driver in Ontario? Zero blood alcohol and zero presence of cannabis/drugs. Ontario's Graduated Licensing System, GLS, enforces a strict zero tolerance policy for all novice drivers. Moving on. A G1 license holder must be accompanied by a fully licensed driver who has at least how many years of driving experience? 4 years of driving experience. The accompanying driver must also have a valid, full license and sit in the front passenger seat. Time for the next question. A G1 driver may not drive between what hours? 12 a.m., midnight, and 5 a.m. This driving restriction is in place during the hours when driving is considered highest risk for new drivers. Next up, when driving, who must wear a seatbelt in the vehicle? The driver and all passengers, with the driver being responsible for passengers under 16. Seatbelt use is mandatory for everyone in the vehicle. Let's continue. What is the penalty for a G1 driver caught driving with any alcohol in their system? A minimum 30-day license suspension. This is due to the mandatory zero tolerance policy. Moving on, you are driving on a road with no posted speed limit in a city or town. What is the maximum legal speed? 50 kilometers per hour. This is the default maximum speed limit in urban areas unless signs indicate otherwise. Time for the next question. You are on a multi-lane highway. When is it permissible to pass another vehicle on the right? When the vehicle being passed is making a left turn, or when you are on a one-way street with 2 or more lanes. Passing on the right is generally restricted to these specific situations. Next up, at a 4-way stop intersection, if 2 vehicles arrive at the same time, which one has the right-of-way? The vehicle to the right. If vehicles arrive simultaneously, the car on the right proceeds first. Let's continue. A solid yellow line on your side of the center line means passing is not permitted. The solid line indicates that it is unsafe and illegal to cross into the oncoming lane. Moving on. What must you do when facing a stop sign? Come to a complete stop behind the stop line, crosswalk, or edge of the sidewalk. A full and complete stop is legally required before proceeding. Time for the next question. When the traffic signal turns green, you must proceed only when the intersection is clear and safe. You must yield to any vehicle or pedestrian still clearing the intersection. Next up, what does a flashing red signal light mean? Stop completely, then proceed only when safe, as if it were a stop sign. A flashing red light is treated the same as a stop sign. Let's continue. What does a flashing amber yellow signal light mean? Proceed with caution, be prepared to stop. This warns you that a change in traffic conditions is ahead. Moving on. When can you legally turn right on a red light in Ontario? Only after coming to a complete stop and ensuring the way is clear, unless a sign prohibits it. A right turn on red is generally permitted after a full stop and yielding, unless a sign says no right turn on red. Time for the next question. What does a sign with an arrow bent to the right and a curved line underneath indicate? Winding road ahead. This sign warns drivers to expect a series of curves. Next up. What does a diamond-shaped sign generally signify? Warning or caution of a potential hazard or unusual condition ahead. The diamond shape is the universal shape for warning signs. Let's continue. What does a square or rectangular white sign typically indicate? Regulatory signs, which provide rules you must follow. Examples include speed limits, turning restrictions, and parking rules. Moving on. When must you stop for a school bus with its red lights flashing? When approaching from either the front or the rear on any road without a median strip. All traffic must stop regardless of the direction of travel unless there is a physical barrier, median, separating the lanes. Time for the next question. If a pedestrian is crossing at a crosswalk, when must you stop? Always stop and yield the right of way to the pedestrian. Drivers must yield the entire width of the roadway to pedestrians at crosswalks. Next up, what does a sign that is a white circle with a black diagonal line across a symbol indicate? The action symbolized is prohibited, e.g. no left turn. This is a standard prohibition or do not sign. Let's continue. What does a yellow sign with a deer symbol indicate? Warning of animal crossing, particularly deer. Drivers should slow down and be prepared for wildlife crossing the road. Moving on. How many demerit points will result in a mandatory 30-day license suspension for a G2 driver? 9 demerit points. For G1 and G2 drivers, the suspension threshold is lower than for a fully licensed driver, which is 15 points. Time for the next question. When changing lanes on a highway, what should you check last? The blind spot by shoulder check. The final check ensures no vehicle is hidden beside you before you change lanes. Next up, what is the proper procedure to recover if your right wheels drop off a paved surface? Shoulder. Hold the wheel firmly, ease off the accelerator, and steer gently back onto the road when safe. Do not brake or turn sharply, as this can cause a skid or loss of control. Let's continue. What does a yellow sign with 2 arrows pointing in opposite directions, one up, one down, indicate? 2-way traffic ahead, end of a one-way street. This warns drivers that they will now be sharing the road with oncoming traffic. Moving on. When performing a left turn at an intersection without a dedicated left turn signal, you must yield to all oncoming traffic and complete the turn when safe. You must wait until all oncoming traffic has cleared before turning. Time for the next question. Under what conditions can a G1 driver have passengers in the vehicle? The driver can carry passengers up to the number of working seatbelts, but only the accompanying driver can be in the front seat. Only the licensed accompanying driver is allowed in the front passenger seat. Next up, what does a five-sided sign shaped like a schoolhouse indicate? School zone or school crossing ahead. This unique shape is specifically used for school-related warnings. Let's continue. When parking downhill on a street with a curb, how should you turn your wheels? Turn the front wheels toward the curb. This ensures that if the brakes fail, the vehicle will roll into the curb and stop. Moving on, what should you do if you are involved in a collision? Stop, provide assistance to anyone injured, call 911 if required, and exchange information. Stopping and ensuring the safety of all involved is the first priority. Time for the next question. What is the penalty for being convicted of street racing or stunt driving? Immediate 7-day vehicle impoundment and 7-day license suspension. Ontario has severe penalties for these dangerous driving offenses. Next up, what does a yellow sign with a black X indicate? Railway crossing ahead. This is the advanced warning sign for tracks. Let's continue. If you are traveling behind a motorcycle, you should increase your following distance. Motorcycles can stop more quickly than cars, and their smaller size makes it harder to judge their speed. Moving on. If you are driving a vehicle that is towing a trailer, what is the maximum speed limit on any highway in Ontario? 80 kilometers per hour. A lower speed limit is enforced for vehicles towing trailers for safety reasons. Time for the next question. What color are construction signs in Ontario? Orange or fluorescent orange. This color is used to distinguish construction and temporary traffic control warnings. Next up, what does a solid white line between two lanes of traffic mean? Lane changes are discouraged and should only be done with extreme caution. The solid white line indicates that vehicles should stay in their lane. Let's continue. The term overdriving your headlights means driving at a speed that prevents you from stopping within the distance lit by your headlights. If you cannot stop in the distance you can see, you are driving too fast for night conditions. Moving on. What does a white sign with a black number, e.g. 80, and a red circle with a line through it indicate? The maximum speed shown is the minimum speed allowed. This sign indicates the minimum speed, not the maximum speed, which is a different sign. Time for the next question. When approaching a curve, what is the best practice for speed? Slow down before entering the curve and gently accelerate out of the curve. Braking in the curve can cause a skid. Slowing down first maintains control. Next up, what is the rule for passing a cyclist on the road? Leave a minimum of 1 meter distance between your vehicle and the cyclist. This ensures the safety of the cyclist. Let's continue. What does a green sign with a white number, e.g. Highway 401, indicate? A guide sign for a provincial highway route. Green signs are generally used for guide, distance, and destination information. Moving on. If a tire suddenly blows out while driving, what should you do first? Grip the steering wheel firmly, ease off the gas, and let the vehicle slow down before braking. Controlling the steering and maintaining the lane is the immediate priority. Time for the next question. If your vehicle begins to hydroplane, what is the first thing you should do? Ease your foot off the accelerator and steer in the direction you want the vehicle to go. Do not brake or turn suddenly, as this will lead to a skid. Next up, what is the maximum number of demerit points a fully licensed driver G can accumulate before facing a potential license suspension? 15 points. This is the threshold for a full license holder, which is higher than for novice drivers. Let's continue. What does a yellow sign with a truck tilted downwards indicate? Steep hill or downgrade ahead. This warns drivers to be prepared to shift into a lower gear and control their speed. Moving on. When driving at night, you must lower your high beams when you are within what distance of an oncoming vehicle? 150 meters. Lowering high beams prevents blinding the oncoming driver. Time for the next question. What is the proper procedure for a vehicle entering a roundabout? Traffic circle. Yield to traffic already in the circle, then proceed when safe. Traffic already in the roundabout has the right of way. Next up, what does a rectangular yellow-green sign with an image of children indicate? A school bus stop or children crossing area. This color and shape is used to highlight areas where children may be present. Let's continue. What is the legal requirement for headlights when visibility is reduced? Headlights must be turned on when visibility is less than 150 meters. This ensures the vehicle is visible to others during poor weather or low light. That wraps up our practice session for the Ontario G1 Knowledge Practice Test. Keep reviewing this material and you'll be ready for your test.